I'm a communist.
Oh boy, this should be just fucking amazing. You know, every commie on YouTube has a very grounded, thought out, well reasoned position based purely on the greatest economic interest of everyone. Fuck rich people.
A lot of people are scared of that word because the capitalists got a hold of it and fucking brainwashed everyone and just destroyed the word.
While I agree that most Americans are completely inept when it comes to anything related to economics, let alone communism, the wording "the capitalists got a hold of it and fucking brainwashed everyone" comes off very conspiracy-ridden, which isn't surprising seeing as most commies are conspiracy whores. Probably think the Iowa caucus was rigged as well.
I'm here to tell you that the word is not what you think it means. To establish my view further, I believe that there should be no class system. I actually think we should destroy the idea of money altogether because the idea of value is way too subjective to put a quantitative number upon.
Oh boy, here we go. This is shockingly retarded, however, I shouldn't be surprised. This is the level of reasoning you can expect from the commies on the internet. In case you're unaware, here's what a class system is. The class system is a universal phenomena denoting a category of groups or persons having a definitive status in society which permanently determines their relation to other groups. There are philosophical arguments to be made of whether or not class structures are useful, but they are certainly inevitable. The idea that removing economic classes would somehow mean that social classes went away is just really naive. In going with removing money, the only reason given is that value is subjective and therefore we shouldn't have money, I guess. So if I go to the store, and yes, I recognize in the fantastical commie world you want to create, there wouldn't be such a thing as stores, but I'm simply demonstrating the utility of having a centralized currency. So if I walk into a store and I see, say, like a candy bar I want to buy, am I supposed to walk to my farm and grab a sheep to barter with the store owner, or... What do you do if someone has something that would generally be recognized as more valuable? Or even with the two parties in the trade, they both recognize that, say, the sheep is more valuable than the one candy bar. If the store owner doesn't have enough candy bars to justify me giving them a sheep, do we both get just fuck off, I guess? Or does the store owner take a loss on that trade? The idea of value being subjective is actually an argument for having a centralized currency. I don't know if you realize this or not. You simply can't argue that currency doesn't provide some utility. Not to mention the fact that things have a value based in reality. You know what the value is based on what people are willing to pay for it. That's the entire idea of a capitalist system and the idea of currency under that capitalist system. We have a thing called a dollar. People are willing to pay $2 for a gallon of milk, therefore that gallon of milk will be priced at $2. If supermarket A wants to price their milk at $3 and people aren't willing to pay for it, then supermarket B will price it at $2 and supermarket A won't be competitive. Literally everything is subjective, and you could run down that line of reasoning for so many things you take for granted in your life. The argument that value is subjective and currency has a subjective value, therefore currency shouldn't exist, I guess, doesn't make any sense. The point of currency is to provide a utility. I need 50 bars of soap, I have 100 bars of soap, so I sell 50 bars of soap to someone who needs it. Gaining currency in return in that economic transaction is going to be way more efficient than winging it and trading a good for a good. In that scenario I just laid out, I gain currency, they gain soap, therefore the overall utility in that situation is increased. We both get what we want in accordance to what we think is fair. I think $50 is fair for 50 bars of soap, say. If they're not willing to pay at least $50, then they can go get soap from someone else, and likewise, I can sell my soap to someone who needs it and is willing to pay the price that I've laid out for it. And being more honest than you, I'm willing to lay out an actual coherent counter-argument. The counter-argument is, say someone really needs soap, but they simply can't afford it because they don't have enough of the currency that we've decided that 50 bars of soap is worth. In that scenario, that is not an argument for communism, that is not an argument for abolishing the dollar, that is an argument for better social safety nets. The simple fact is that currency, as much as anything that exists today, has a value that we assign to it. There is no inherent value in the world of anything. We assign values to things that we think that we want to assign value to. Simply put, something being subjective is not an argument against it.
I believe nobody should be able to hoard the wealth or resources because that's fucking whack, dude.
Phenomenal argument. Please continue. Really, you beat me there. Not sure how to even refute such a coherent, logical argument.
Like, you have the power to make sure nobody is suffering and then you just don't. How about no? How about we don't do that?
The idea that these two ideas are mutually exclusive isn't really based in reality. You can have someone with the majority of the wealth and still make sure that everyone else is well off. Why do you care if someone has more wealth than another person as long as everyone is taken care of? You seem to provide no economic or philosophical argument for this as with the rest of the claims in your video. You seem to just make like broad sweeping claims and ideas that you have no actual substantial arguments for. It really seems like the commies are more concerned with hating the wealthy than taking care of poor people, not to mention the fact that you can have a society where everyone is taken care of with social safety nets under a capitalist economic system. This doesn't require the significantly less efficient communist system. By the way, having an argument against a capitalist system is not an argument for a communist system. These are not the only two economic systems in the world, and just because capitalism has problems doesn't mean you can't patch them with government regulation.
And I also believe communism is humanity's full potential, essentially. It is the utopia that we should be striving towards.
This is where the weird mentality a lot of commies have comes in. I can't explain in words how fucking weird it is to me that your idea of a utopia doesn't lay in any like bettering of humanity or making the world a more enjoyable place for everyone, but your idea of utopia lies in an economic system that has been demonstrated as a less efficient system that has never really worked.
I think we should not settle, and that we should be always aiming for the utopia. Perfection is not possible, considering perfection is too subjective to claim. We can't claim perfection when perfection is different for everyone.
This is just a weird take. I mean, again, everything is pretty much subjective. The point of the video is to outline why you're a communist. So yes, I would expect you to be talking about your subjective views. This was entirely pointless. And it's cool I still haven't heard one reason why communism is the best economic system. It's just like a mismatch of like empty platitudes and capitalism bad.
Those are my basic beliefs. Grossly oversimplified.
So your basic beliefs are money is subjective, we shouldn't have super rich people and people that are starving, and we shouldn't have classes, I guess? And that's why you're a communist? Seems like you've really reasoned your way into this position.
The best way to address this topic would be to go through the counterclaims I see all the time.
Oh boy, can't wait to hear these strawman arguments. How much do you want to bet he still somehow fucks up dismantling strawmen he's created for himself?
First counterclaim, my favorite one, because it's so wrong I don't even know where to begin. China, North Korea, and Russia are communists and are fascists.
Boring, don't fucking care, has nothing to do with communism. Next.
Counterclaim number 2 that said, if you claim that you're a communist, that is disrespectful to all of the people that have escaped communist countries to live in the West.
Are you really too weak to defend actual substantial critiques on your proposed economic system? Are you really going to keep jerking yourself off with lazy straw men that only Trump-supporting grandmas on Facebook could dream of spouting? If we ever even get to them in this fucking video, I'm going to skip the inept, mind-numbingly stupid arguments and try to move to more substantial, actual, real points.
You need to have a free market to have freedom. Hey buddy, I really hate to break it to you, but capitalism doesn't have a free market either, especially in late-stage capitalism. It's kind of hard to have a truly free market in an advanced society. It doesn't exist. I don't know where you think the free market is, but it's definitely not here. Now I'm talking about America, but other late-stage capitalisms might have the same issue going on. Only 10 brands make up your entire grocery store.
Not only is this, like, factually wrong, the monopoly of products in a grocery store certainly exists, but this is a gross exaggeration. Also, so the fuck what? Stating this fact alone is not an argument, nor is it a critique of capitalism. You can have a capitalist system that discourages monopolization, and you can also have a monopoly in a system that is a free market.
Now you'd be like, no, Nick, I see hundreds. Look at this picture. Those hundreds of brands are 10 monopolies in disguise. These 10 monopolies eat small brands for breakfast. Small brands cannot survive when these 10 brands have just taken over the entire entire industry.
This claim is simply factually wrong. The free market is an economic system based on supply and demand with little to no government control. The number of businesses taking up whatever percentage of the market is based on supply and demand and has no bearing on whether or not it is part of a free market system. Which it's hilarious that you make these shit tier arguments for why we don't live under a free market system when you can literally just point to the fact that the government regulation is in virtually every sector of the market. Feels like this is a lame attempt at an emotional appeal, or maybe this is what you heard from your favorite commie YouTuber. You just sound like you watched one too many Hassan streams.
Don't buy from the big brands, and then we could get the small brands in. That's the free market, is the idea that we have the right to choose.
Whether you like it or not, that's the reality of the situation. If people didn't buy from big brands, the market would dictate to stores that they'd have to start putting smaller brands in their stores or they'll go out of business. You choose to buy products from big brands because it's convenient and cheap, and part of the reason the brands are convenient and cheap is attributed to the fact that they're so fucking big. Now, do they need to be as big as they are to retain the same convenience and cheapness? I don't fucking know. I'm not an economist. However, at the end of the day, these businesses thrive because people financially support them. And if you don't continue to financially support them, they will go out of business. That's the fucking free market, baby. You don't like it, then you don't support the free market. That doesn't mean that the market is not free because you don't like the outcomes of the free market. This is a circular argument.
The thing about these big brands is because they're so big, they can make their products cheaper. That panders to the middle and lower class that needs to be able to afford shit.
You can make this argument for the lower class, maybe for some products. The idea that there's no small brand alternatives that offer comparable prices in some cases is just wrong, and in other cases an argument for the reason those big businesses thrive in the free market in the first place. They're offering cheaper products that are more convenient. That is the free market at work. Now, whether or not you like the free market is a separate issue. Also, the idea that if you're middle class, you can't buy things from and support small brands is fucking stupid. And has more to do with the fact that you're inept at your finances or lazy more than anything.
Small brands need to make their prices higher to survive. There is no freedom there.
I think this really gets to the heart of the issue where lefties hardcore moralize and turn their brains off when it comes to economics. You don't know what a free market is, that's really what it boils down to. You're moralizing a free market to mean it gives you freedom, which is simply fucking absurd. The idea of a free market has nothing to do with making people free. It's a product of certain economic systems.
You have no freedom to choose if you do not have the money to choose.
This isn't an argument against free markets or capitalism. This is an argument for better social safety nets.
I cannot go throughout my house right now without finding some shit from these brands.
Holy fuck! That's the reason these brands thrive. They're winning in the free market. It's not that our markets are truly free or that we should have free markets to begin with, but they are winning. They have a supply of shit that you want. They are able to outcompete smaller brands and give you the shit you want at a cheaper price and more conveniently. It sounds like they are thriving in the free market by outcompeting other businesses. Holy fuck. By the way, you still haven't given an argument for why these monopolies are bad. It's kind of like with every other thing in your dumb fucking video. You don't give any reasons why things are bad or why we should prefer one thing over the other. It's just broad, generalizing, sweeping claims, half of which aren't even fucking true to begin with. This is your brain on communism, kids.
Next counterclaim, Marx is racist.
This is fucking boring, don't care, I snore. Good arguments you've chosen to dismantle. Good job, dude. You're so fucking talented and brilliant.
Working together, putting all of these brilliant people together to create something will always be better than making them fight it out.
I mean, do you have any empirical studies that bear this out, or did you literally just pull this out of your ass because it sounds good? I know intuitively this sounds like a good argument, but unless you have data to support this, you really can't know either way. It seems like you're more bogged down in like emotional appeals than actual rational, factual fucking arguments.
Competition is kind of a recreational thing. It really should not be put into important things such as, economics.
Again, just throwing out a baseless claim, moralizing Andy over here. I don't know, bro. Competition just isn't cool in economics. It doesn't sound good, bro. I actually can't fucking take any more of this video. It's just a straw man after straw man, followed by cringe moralizing, finished off with some more broad claims peppered throughout. I'm fucking good on this one.
Coca candy, straight from Japan. Hologram and she was never as the end. Think you know what I need to get by.
Something for your mind.
Mind, 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 mind.
정신에 집어넣으세요. 마음에 어떤 것이 필요합니까?
Something for your
정신에 집어넣으세요.